On the writing desk that I posted a week or two ago, I had a really difficult time coming up with a good design for the drawer pulls. I ended up settling on this very simple wooden knob, and not so much settling because I like it. I think it works with the project. But before making this, I made this drawer pull, which is a similar design to a pull that I used on a Babinga desk that's in my sunroom. It's a desk that I made about 20 years ago. I made the pulls out of rosewood and they look really good on that desk, but they just didn't work on the farmhouse writing desk. It just looked really kind of clunky. So after this design, I ended up going with this, which is very similar to a design that I used on this coffee table that's in my living room, and also kind of a sofa table that's in my living room. It's a little bit different, but it does have this little spot for your thumb. It has kind of a finger grab in the back. Not very difficult to make. Both of these are made using the bandsaw. This one has a little bit of carving, but the bandsaw, and then using the belt sander turned upside down on the workbench and just kind of shaping it that way. But both of these pulls just didn't work, so I ended up going with this very simple turned knob. And I have a drawing in the plans of the knob, but I didn't include how to make it in the project video. So that's what we're going to do now. I made the knobs for the desk out of reclaimed white oak. I don't have any more of that material left. So we're going to go ahead and make it in walnut. Before we get started, I want to remind you of all the great furniture project plans available on my website. The professional plans, along with step-by-step video tutorials right here on YouTube, will help guide you through the project and help you make beautiful furniture for your home. Click on the link in the description below and let me help you with your next project. I'll start with a walnut blank that measures 1 1/8 by 1 1/8 by 12 inches long. I'm going to turn 3 of the knobs, and that way I can choose the best looking 2. The first thing I'm going to do is measure from one side down, put a mark at 2, and then 1 1/8. From that bottom 1 1/8 mark, I'll measure down again at 2, and then from there 1 1/8. After locating the centers on each side of the blank, I'll put it in the lathe. And if you're looking for a good shop project, or shop furniture project, this mobile workstation is great. It's got a ton of storage. As you can see, I've got my lathe on it. I've got the drill press, I've got the mortiser, and I'll have a link to the plans for this project down in the description below. I've got the blank in the lathe. I've rotated it to make sure that it's not going to hit the tool rest. And I'll start by creating a cylinder in between the lines. Now I can start shaping the knobs, and I'll measure from the top and make a mark at 3/8, and the bottom 1/4. And I'll do that on all 3. With the cylinders made and the measurements marked, the 3/8 at the front, 1/4 inch at the back, the next step is to create kind of a gentle arc or curve going from the front towards the back. Okay, so that looks pretty good. The next thing I want to do is bring the back of the knob down a little smaller than the front. So the front here is maybe a full inch. I want to bring that down to about 3/4. So I'm going to take about 1/8 of an inch off of this back area. This one's looking pretty good. So now I'll go ahead and make these two as similar to this one as I can. Now I have the general shape of the knobs cut, and I think they look pretty good. I think these two are better than this one. That's why it's good to make one or two more than you need and choose the best ones. The next step is to work on separating them. And to do that, I'm going to use this tool, and I'll work from the top of the knob this way. And I want to leave about 5/8, maybe a half of an inch material, so this whole thing stays together, and I'll be kind of cutting out like this. This is the material that will be removed. I'm over here at the miter saw, and I have it set up with a sacrificial fence and zero clearance. And I'm going to cut off at the bottom of the knob first, and we'll bring the camera nice and tight so you can see exactly what I'm doing. I'll set this up so the bottom of the knob is right at that kerf mark, and this portion here will be cut away. I'll bring it over and make the next cut. Now I'll need to pre-drill a hole for the screw, and to find the center in something round, I'll use my fingernail as a guide, and I just kind of spin that knob, and you can see that's the center right there. The bottom of the knob is still nice and square, so I can register off of the drill press. I've got an 11/64 drill bit in the drill press with a piece of blue tape so I don't drill too deep. Now I'll use the bandsaw to cut off the end. This little bit on the front here can be shaped with the orbital sander. I picked up one of these wooden knobs at the hardware store to use the screw. I couldn't find a screw like this anywhere, and it has these nice threads, and that will tap into the new knob. Just be careful not to over tighten, and that's about all there is to it. Okay, well, a pretty simple drawer pull or knob, but I think it is the best looking one for this project. And it's just kind of a good excuse to work on the lathe. It's always a lot of fun working on the lathe, very relaxing. And I hope to use it more in projects in the future. The problem is not everybody has a lathe, so those projects tend to not do too well on YouTube. But I do want to make kind of a shaker inspired table with simple turned legs. I'll probably do it anyway, just because I'd rather make something that I want to make than make something that I think is going to get views. So this was the last part of the farmhouse desk project. I think there were maybe 4 videos designed to really help you throughout your build, throughout your build while you're building it. And if you didn't see that video, I'll have a link to it down in the description below, along with links to all the other videos in the series and a link to the plans. So I hope that you'll check those out. As always, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. If you would like my help building the furniture for your home, I hope that you'll visit my website at johnpeters.com and check out my furniture project plans. With the large variety of projects and links to the video tutorials right here on YouTube, I know that you'll find something that will inspire you to spend more time in the shop and build something beautiful for your home.